Hello everyone, and welcome Blue Jays Breakdown. I'm so grateful you're here. If you're enjoying this content and would like to see more videos like this, please support the channel by subscribing.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. This spring training, a former #1 prospect in the Blue Jays system that everybody's looking to have a big bounce back is Ricky Tiedemann. However, those fans are going to have to wait just a little bit longer to see it. Yesterday, we received an unfortunate injury update about Ricky Tiedemann, as well as a very interesting plan they've got for their current #1 prospect, Trey Savage. As well, we have a Toronto Blue Jay who needs to crack the 26-man roster after spring training, or else they could be DFA'd. Before we get into all the current updates, I encourage you guys to please hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. We do daily Blue Jays news and updates, so if you're a big Blue Jay fan, this is where you want to be. All right, everybody, here is the update about Ricky Tiedemann. This one is coming from Mitch Bannon. He says Ricky Tiedemann had some elbow soreness, went for an MRI, showed nothing structural, will take about a week off. And that is probably the good news here, is that there is nothing structural and it's just only a week off for him to recover before he presumably ramps up his baseball activities. Now, first things first, what everyone's kind of wincing at here is the fact that it's elbow soreness, and we all know that last year he had Tommy John surgery and he had, hurt elbow before that as well. So it's been a long road of recovery for Ricky Tiedemann, and to see that it's elbow soreness again, it just makes you a little bit concerned, and it raises some questions for me too. Like, every single spring training, every single year, he has something going on in his arm. And I don't know what I don't know what the solution is here. I'm not a doctor, but it feels like every time he goes to ramp back up in the last few years, it's been some sort of setback. Now, again, like I said, the good news here is that it's nothing structural and it just needs to take a week off. It's just unfortunate that you're hoping right out of the gate, you're hoping this guy to make an impact in spring training, and then clearly he can set himself a role on this team, down the stretch. But it's going to take a little bit more time for Ricky Tiedemann. And if we're looking over at the schedule right here, what does this look like for him? Well, Ricky Tiedemann, he is built up to be a starter in the past, but this year it's going to be a little bit of a different role, I'm assuming, because of the recent injury history and because of just the makeup of the Blue Jays 26-man roster. If he's going to make this team, it's probably and most likely going to be a bullpen role. So what does that mean for him? Well, it means he doesn't necessarily need to build up the workload and stretch out as long as some of the other starting pitchers and people on this roster. When you look over here at the schedule, okay, let's say a week goes by. Right now it's Wednesday. Next Wednesday, he's good to go. It's a day off. He plays, he's ready to ramp up baseball activity, on that Thursday. Okay, maybe it takes him about a week and a half, 2 weeks to really ramp up and feel good again. Maybe he's playing in some games over here in the second to last week of spring training. Okay, that's fine. And then eventually they're gonna have to make a choice. I don't know when exactly the choice is this year for the Blue Jays, to send him back down to AAA or wherever they decide to put him. Probably, I'm assuming AAA, because they're gonna want to have him handy in Buffalo in case they need to bring him up. And he is on the 40-man roster, so I assume it's going to be AAA this year. He goes back down there, and probably because of the lateness now of his ramp-up and his ability to see a lot of live hitters, probably going to go into April and further, depending on how he's feeling. So you probably aren't going to see a Ricky Tiedemann out of the gate right now, at least my guess, based on how things are going and how things are progressing, which is unfortunate. We're clearly needing a lefty impact guy in that bullpen. I'm going to bring this up a little bit later in this video, but right now we just have Brandon Little in the pen, and I'm bringing this up a little bit later. Eric Lauer might not be as prominent in the pen as we first assumed, so if Eric Lauer is not going to be in the pen as so much, we're going to need another lefty in there to complement Brandon Little, and he feels like a clear guy. Now, I know that we have a Mason Fluharty down there, and absolutely he can come up at some point for the Blue Jays, but I'm looking for a different kind of look from the left side, which is what Ricky Tiedemann would provide. So that's your Ricky Tiedemann update right there, everybody. Again, it makes you wince because you hear elbow soreness and you get a little bit concerned. And if you did feel that way, absolutely, you're valid. But we're lucky here that it's just, no structural damage and it's just going to be a week off. And now we got an update about the current number one prospect, Trey Savage, from John Schneider. Now, we saw the videos early of Trey Savage pitching some bullpens.
Things just took a sharp turn at Blue Jays camp. And today we are diving straight into the latest surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays and two names that could shape this season in a major way. So make sure you subscribe right now as we push to 2K subscribers for nonstop updates. After that huge development, welcome to Blue Jays Breakdown, the home for every update on the Toronto Blue Jays. And I need you to help this channel reach 2K subscribers because I bring you all the latest news right here on Blue Jays Breakdown. Let's get directly into it. A new report revealed that Ricky Tiedemann experienced elbow soreness and underwent an MRI. The good news is that nothing structural showed up, and he is expected to take about a week off before resuming activities. That is relief on the surface, but any mention of elbow discomfort instantly grabs attention, especially for a young pitcher who has already battled injuries in recent seasons. Tiedemann had been building momentum. He recently spoke about feeling strong and healthy, focused on facing live hitters and sharpening his command. Now, this minor setback pauses that progress. Doctors previously removed bone chips during his Tommy John procedure, and every rehab process carries its own timeline. The organization is clearly being cautious, knowing how important he remains to the farm system and the long-term pitching depth. He once lit up spring radar guns touching the upper 90s and looked destined for a fast track. Since then, limited innings and inconsistent availability have slowed that climb. The priority now is simple. Get him healthy, keep him steady, and avoid rushing anything that could create a larger issue down the road. Now shifting to the bigger immediate storyline involving Trey Savage. He is about a week away from pitching in a Grapefruit League game as the team deliberately builds him up. After a heavy workload last year across multiple levels, the Blue Jays are carefully managing his innings heading into this season. Savage is fully healthy. There are no injury concerns. However, the club plans to monitor his workload throughout the year. That means skipped turns, adjusted schedules, or flexible rotation spots, depending on recovery and performance metrics. This explains why the Blue Jays are holding onto extra starters and exploring additional pitching depth. With names like Kevin Gausman and Jose Berrios expected to anchor the rotation, managing Savage responsibly becomes critical. The team understands that jumping straight into a massive inning total again would not be wise. Instead, they want sustained effectiveness across the entire season. This also sheds light on why the front office has been connected to veteran arms and why depth options remain in the mix. If Savage's workload is moderated and others need time, those extra starters suddenly become essential pieces rather than insurance. Spring games continue to offer glimpses of roster battles and player momentum, but the spotlight remains on health and rotation strategy. Every outing, every bullpen session, and every update matters right now. So are you concerned about Ricky Tiedemann's elbow update? And how do you feel about Trey Savage's workload plan? Drop your thoughts below. Keep it locked here. And if you want daily Toronto Blue Jays coverage, make sure you subscribe as we push to 2K subscribers and stay tuned to Blue Jays Breakdown for every single update.